Everywhere throughout the civilized world, people know this street. Broadway, USA, the longest street in the world. But Broadway is a street of many moods, and we're going to see most of them. We'll follow Broadway through the heart of New York, from top to bottom. Let's begin where New York ends. Cochrane House has been standing since stagecoach days. Here's Van Cortlandt Park Station, modern stagecoach stop. 218th Street and Columbia University's Baker Field. Moving slowly downtown, Dyckman House at Dyckman Street and Broadway. Now a museum of Dutch colonial culture. A reminder that once the Dutch ruled Manhattan Island. Still Broadway, but a few blocks down, our mood changes. The Cloisters, highest point of Manhattan Island. Here, the culture is Gothic and Romanesque. These are exact replicas of French cloisters, picturesque monastic settings, art forms older than democracy. Priceless treasures in stained glass tell tales of peasants and of kings. The cloister arcades overlook the serene Hudson River. Then 168th Street and Broadway, Medical Center. A dozen streets downtown, the Hispania Society of America. A museum recalling an era when Spain's explorers led the way to the New World. Spain's heroes, emblazoned in stone, still stand watch on Broadway. We continue downtown past more Broadway scenes and rapid changes of character. Pausing briefly at the Jewish Theological Seminary, housing invaluable documents of ancient Judaism. Off to the right, we can see General Grant's tomb. Columbia University, its famed statue of Alma Mater, inviting those who seek knowledge. One of the world's great seats of learning. Below Columbia is the most densely populated residential section in the world, from 110th Street to 72nd. Here, Broadway's benches offer rest and rendezvous, like any small town. 59th Street, Columbus Circle. Two, please. One heavy on the mustard. Rising in the middle of Broadway, Christopher Columbus himself. Sharing the circle, a lesser-known monument of the Spanish-American War. Remember the Maine. Here, too, are hansom cabs for trips around Central Park. By day, tourists. By night, lovers. At 59th Street, Broadway touches Central Park. Central Park, with its green grass, lakes, and zoo, extends from 59th to 110th Street. Situated in the heart of Manhattan, it's the most valuable piece of real estate in the world, ever to be set aside as a park. Back at Columbus Circle, other landmarks high over Broadway. The right time, the weather. Immediately below Columbus Circle, New York's automobile district. Just off Broadway, a tall sentinel. Radio City. Back on Broadway, Father Duffy. The theatrical district with its shows. Its eateries. Its nighteries. Times Square, wonderland of lights. The Broadway everybody knows. And the Times building, most famous of landmarks. "42nd Street, crossroads of the world." Just south, the Metropolitan Opera House. And a radio station. Macy's of Herald Square. And considerable competition. The heralds of Herald Square sound the hour. Broadway and 23rd, the eternal light. Union Square. Everything from communism to vegetarianism is discussed. And because this is America, the arguments never stop. One of Broadway's many churches, Grace Church. Another great Broadway merchant, John Wanamaker's at 9th Street. Touching Manhattan's Main Street with its air of bohemian oddity, Greenwich Village. Moving downtown, the Bowery, Street of Misery, is a neighbor. The cross streets have names here, no longer numbers. Broadway cuts through the textile district below Canal Street to City Hall. Here's an interesting fact. The uptown walls are of cheaper construction. The early city fathers felt Manhattan was through growing, and nobody would look at that side of the building. City Hall Park. Just off Broadway, the Brooklyn Bridge, where Steve Brody took a dare and jumped. Behind it, the Manhattan Bridge. His business is picking up. Speaking of business, Wall Street from Broadway, the Exchange. Sub-Treasury Building, scene of Washington's inauguration, and historic Trinity Church. Here, old New York's elite worshiped, and many lie buried. Alexander Hamilton. Robert Fulton. New York's first park, Bowling Green, still enclosed by the original iron fence imported from England in 1771. Abraham de Peyster, mayor of New York in 1691. The Custom House. Seen from it, a labyrinth of brick, granite, and marble. Surrounding Bowling Green is the oldest neighborhood in Manhattan, now a monument to national and international finance. Number 1 Broadway, once General Washington's headquarters, now headquarters for great shipping lines. Looking south from the Battery, the Statue of Liberty, symbol of America, as Broadway is the symbol of Main Street.